Online. Okay. Salam. My name is Bitalhim Bakala. I'm the founder of Kinat Faith. Hopefully, you can hear me. um, I am also, besides being the owner of Kinat Faith, I'm also a first-time mom. And today, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about some of the challenges the journey of first-time parenthood. And one that is usually not told. So I'm not trying to scare anyone, of course. But I do think there is power in telling our stories. And we can, the more we tell our stories, the more I think freedom we'll have. And I will tell you a little bit behind. So today I was part of, there is the Ethiopian and Eritrean Parenthood Alliance, or some, I think that's their name. I hope I'm not butchering it. I'm sorry if I am. They had an event on parenting, and they had panelists that were parents at different stages. And I was so excited to have been there and listening. I learned so much about a lot of different things, but truly, I learned about the power that we have in sharing our stories. And so this is the first time I'm doing this on Kinect Week, but I have done live, Instagram live, having conversations about parenting and kind of telling our stories and sharing my story, and also having conversation with other moms. So with that being said, let's dive right in, right? So when we think about parenting, so when I first learned that I was pregnant, let's start there. I was so excited. And so that's where the kind of I guess, I was so excited and I wanted to share it with people, right? So I was like, my family, I wanted to share with my cousins, I wanted to share with people. And the feedback I received from family members that was, don't see anything. That's the first thing I heard was, don't see anything, because we are, you just never know, and you're tempting faith. So when we're thinking about it from that perspective, so I'm saying this to say there are a lot of things about the Ethiopian culture that I love very much. I also, because I was also raised, and because I was raised in the Ethiopian culture, but I also grew up in the States. So I'm trying to give some dynamic around why I feel the way I feel, or some of my views. But so as soon as I heard that, let me just, when someone is excited about news like that, so there's an excitement aspect and there's also a fear aspect. So that's not easy. Like, we're trying to balance that. Like, there's a chemical, our bodies are changing, the hormones are shooting all over the place. This is an unknown territory. And so we're already feeling this. I feel like there's already a level of nervousness that comes with that. And yet, so when somebody tells you, don't say anything because you're tempting fate, you don't know what's going to happen. And that is, to me, that's operating from fear, right? So even maybe there is some truth to that, but the way it was delivered, it was so fear driven. So as a as a first time mom, you're either going to be super open because you have no idea what to expect. So you're either going to be super open about, all the things that people want to tell you, or you're just going to be like, you know what, I don't want to hear anything because it's just too much for me. Majority of the moms that I've spoken to that were first time moms, they were the first ones that wanted to hear everything. And then of course, everybody, whether you wanted to or not, you were also just receiving feedback. So I guess this, and I'm going to shift this focus a little bit from the mom to those that love the mom and that are excited. Just be mindful of the way the information is being delivered, because it can be a bit scary. And I think the disconnect is people look at things through their, we tend to, as people, tend to look at things through our own prism. So if you are a mom, for example, maybe you forgot how it felt like when you were a first time mom, because now you're a veteran mom, like you had 2, 3 kids, and maybe you forgot what that felt like. Or maybe you felt like, I wish I knew these things beforehand. You know, you passed through that fear, or that was passed down to you, that knowledge, so you're just automatically sharing that. I think we need to be present in our current moment and find out, is that something that's truly helpful for this mom to be? So the first thing I heard was, don't say anything, just keep it to yourself, which is very, you know, maybe the delivery was what the issue was, you know. I'm so happy for you. This is great news, and I'm sure you're excited. I would be excited too. This is very exciting. You know, I'm giving us another way to have that. If that information needs to be shared, we can do so by saying, you know, I'm so happy for you. Congratulations. This is such a great news. Yeah, I'm sure, you know, how are you feeling? Like all of these things first. They first need to go, like that needs to be the first thing. And then after all of that, and then after you hear where the mom's mindset is, try to get some, ask clarifying questions, find out why she's feeling this way, why she wants to tell people. And if you feel like, you know, what I heard when I was pregnant with, you know, when I was a first time mom, I was told that you shouldn't tell anyone. I'm really not sure if that's the case, what the reason behind it, or if you know the reason, tell the reason to that person, and then let the mother make that decision for herself, right? So just giving directives to someone, and we tend to be, I think, culturally, we're very driven by that. We're told to listen to our elders, to respect authority, to not challenge our elders or authority. So, but this is such a sensitive time for the mother that can be very scary and may not necessarily be helpful, right? And then, so during the pregnancy, let me tell you, mamas, you're gonna hear a lot of things. You're going to hear a lot of things. Did I mention you're gonna hear a lot of things? Yeah, you're gonna hear a lot of things from people that love you, people that are going to be concerned for you, and they show their love through different ways. They might be afraid for you, they might be excited for you, they might just they may not have a filter. So I'm just telling you that as a first time mom, when you get this information, filter what you hear. Just filter what you hear. I'm sharing this with you as first time mom. Filter what you hear, because it's a lot of things. A lot of things are going to come in. And again, people share their information from their prism, where they are at, what they learned through their time, their experiences, what they've heard since their first time mom, their experience of being a first time mom. So just giving you a heads up that just filter, just filter. Another one is, you know, because everyone would come in and they wanted to share their information. That was too much. That was too much. And I was also reading books. I remember I was like trying to prep myself, because I have type A personality and I want to plan everything. And I realized that was not the best use of my time when I started feeling like the books were sharing so many things, that like the pros and cons. So I understand about being prepared, but I felt like that was way too much information. So I just stopped reading the book. I walked away from, like, I literally closed that. I said, thank you so much. I'm going to put you away now because I cannot process that information. And then I started worrying about what's going to happen to, I was working at the time, and I don't have my immediate family close by. I have family close by, but they're not immediate. So that threw me for, whew. um, I went through a very dark period as a result of that. And let me just tell you, this is a time when talking helps, but you don't feel like talking. This is a time when having someone there that understands the cues and the clues of someone going through perhaps postpartum, that will help. Um, the majority of the time, it's not like back home where you have a community of people that are just want to come there and everybody's doing their own thing. So most of the family is not close by. And so you're going to have a very, very difficult time. You may, I'm not saying you will, but it is possible that, I know for me, I went through a very difficult time, and it didn't help. The way my hormones impacted me did not help. So I went through postpartum before postpartum. I thought postpartum was after giving birth. And so, but it was the first 3 months were really tough for me mentally. So that is, and it's also when I started, I think, being an advocate for mental health, because I did not realize a bubbly person like myself, someone that is outgoing, I just didn't know that we can feel like that. So when I started realizing that, I was so I was so upset, one, because I wish I knew, then I knew what I was going through. Like, I wish I knew that what this cloud was. And so I'm not trying to scare you. Just know that I really believe there's power in telling our stories. And so my fellow first time moms, they're moms that didn't go through this period. So you may or may not go through this period. So, but I will say, having a support system in place is very important from the beginning. Someone that has gone through this process, and someone that is a confidant. For me, I think that was, I only had my husband, and we were both first time parents. So that was not the easiest thing. So, and also we tend to be a culture of silence. So even though I'm very expressive, I ended up being very private about this matter, and people didn't know how to, ask, like, how are you doing? It's such a closed, I'm fine. Like, it's not an open-ended question, it's very closed-ended. How are you doing? I'm fine. Are you feeling any type of heaviness? This time period is so difficult, and you can go through so many things. Just know that I am here if you ever want to talk about something. It's not easy. Like, these are some of the things that people that are around you, even if they're not around you physically, but if they're around you and they're reaching out to you, I guess maybe I should speak to the other people now, not the first time moms, but supporters of first time moms. Those are, I think, a better question. Sometimes and I know in COVID it's not going to be easy, but just bring flowers, or, sending food, or something that shows that you're thinking about that person really does make a difference. Asking questions are not necessarily sufficient. And every mom is not like that, but understanding what the mom is going through, even if the mom to be is not very expressive, I think it's very, very important. So I think that would have been very helpful for me, even though I was not, maybe I was not in the place to receive or see that it's being sent, the love and support, because I was not in a place mentally to receive that, I think, because I was in this dark space and I just didn't know how to process all of that. But just know that when that person gets out of that, like, it will help in that process if you continue to show up. however you can, right? So after the first trimester is kind of funky. So having support system there is very, very important, I think. Also, after that, so let's fast forward. So you may or may not have cravings. I didn't really have real cravings. I really wanted papayas once, and all of a sudden I loved blueberries. So my son loves blueberries now because I was eating them like crazy when I was pregnant with him. And then fast forward to so after the birth, or right around the birth process, one, mama to be, set boundaries early. Know what you want, meaning, do you want a lot of people in there in the delivery room with you? Do you not want a lot of people in the delivery room with you? And maybe if you're giving birth during time of COVID, that decision may be made for you, right? So depending on the doctors in the place. But listen, no, set boundaries, and set boundaries early. If you don't set boundaries, if you don't communicate with people what you want and what you don't want, people will, again, maybe that's their way of showing love, or because our culture tends to give advice without being solicited. So people are just going to offer everything. So just set your boundaries, ask for help, and be prepared to, one, you may have to fight some people off. Or two, you may need to demand some things, and that's okay. That's okay, because at the end of the day, what matters is that you're at peace, you're centered, you're in a good space mentally, because your baby can feel everything that you're going through. So just try to do things that you find happiness in. I used to listen to a lot of music, a lot of music, and also, gospel music as well, not just secular. And there was, I lit candles, a lot of etan, incense, just things that help create a sense of calmness. And this is after the first trimester, because the first trimester, I just laid in bed or the couch, and know that that's okay too, right? So that I'm telling you that that's okay. Whatever you can do that day, that's okay. Whatever expectation that you think you have in your head, get that out of the way early. Like, start now, because once you get into parenthood, it's not going to be easy, right? It's not going to be easy. So set boundaries, which is not going to be easy if you are following, or if you grew up in our culture. It's not going to be easy, but do it. Trust me, it's going to help. And then for the people that are the support system, right? Please respect the boundaries. Like, there's nothing else I could say. And ask, actually also ask specifically before you do something. Hey, I'm gonna bring you food. Do you have anything that you want to, do you want me to, do you have anything specific that you want, for example? Just giving that as an example. After, so when I say set the boundaries early and set the expectation with your family, so that you're not in this space of getting upset, you're not like being reactive to what people are doing. People are going to do whatever they want to do, especially if they don't know what you want. So they're just going to start assuming based on their own experience, or whatever they think, or whatever version they know of you. They're going to be like, oh, that's what she wants. Yep, she's going to want everybody to be there, or she's going to want me to bring her this. And maybe you have changed, and pregnancy is going to change us, right? So maybe you have changed. The things you want may have changed. So we just communicate that. Also designate one person to communicate that too, so that you're not telling a whole bunch of people. Maybe like do a group text with someone, that maybe 2 or 3 people that can reach different family members, and just set that expectation and set that early. I'm telling you, it's going to be such, like, it's going to help a lot. And then for the family, don't be offended. It's not about you. It's about the mother to be. Don't be offended. Don't be sad. Don't just be happy that this mother is going through, she's about to give birth. She's going through her process, and just be happy for her. It's not about you. The pregnancy is not about you, right? And I'm not talking about the partner. I'm talking about other family members that love the mother to be, that are excited for the baby to come, but sometimes they make the mother secondary importance instead of primary importance. So just know that that's not about you, and that's okay. Like everything does, it's not up to the mother to take care of your emotions because she's going through so much already. And please do not compare where you are in your parenting journey to where the mother to be is. These are completely different circumstances. Even if you are a first time mom to be, don't compare yourself to another first time mom to be. Your journeys are completely different. What you carry, your past, your experiences, they're all completely different. Even if you have identical experiences, the way you process the information, the emotions, the way your chemicals work in your body versus the other mom's to be's body are completely different. So please do not compare. Your journey is your own, another person's journey is their own. And if we truly love someone, we love them the way they need to be loved. We love them the way we can, but you adjust to the way they can receive it. So that's all before the delivery. So before you go into, so this is mom to be again, because I'm like doing a tennis match. The mom to be, do me a favor and tell people, again, communicate with them what you're going to need help with. So after you go to the hospital, do you want a lot of people at the hospital? Do you not want? You're going to think about these things, and I'm not going to go through those in detail because I'm pretty sure you've read a lot of books by now, so I'm not going to tell you all of these things. But what I would say is when you get out of the hospital, what's your expectation? Are you trying to, when you go back home, do you want a whole bunch of people home? Do you want only a little bit of people home? Again, during the times of COVID, that might be different, but do you want to accept phone calls? Do you not want to accept phone calls? So just know that during this time, it can be a lot and you're going through a lot. You're processing a lot and your hormones are changing. Your body's adjusting to like going from having a huge belly to not, and it's just doing a whole bunch of stuff. And you may need a few days to rest. And that's okay. If you cannot see people, you cannot see people. Just ask them to give you a little bit more time. And I know in our culture that's, Cass, what? Like in day, But again, it's not about these other people, it's about you. So just know that you can just handle what you can handle. Don't worry about pleasing other people. Just handle what you can handle. That's all I'm gonna say. For the support system, if you're one of the people that the mother to be communicated with, hey, even if she said, until the day of the day before she delivered, she said, yes, I want, I'm going to want everybody as soon as I get to the hospital. It does not matter. Check again the day after she gives birth. I'm telling you, our minds changed. We go through a lot of emotional ups and downs and things can change. So just prioritize that person. Just know that also, I think space is very important during this time. I'm a social butterfly and I love people. So I loved having people after the hospital. After I gave birth in the hospital, I did not want anybody, just my immediate family when I was about to give birth, right? Everybody else, I could not have that. But my sister-in-laws have, I hate calling them my sister-in-laws, my sisters had a whole bunch of people. I know people that had a whole bunch of people in the hospital when they were giving birth. I just could not do it. And that was okay because at the end of the day, I wanted to do what was comfortable for me. I did not want to put any type of distress in my body, and I didn't want any energy. So a negative energy, things I'm doing for other people. It wasn't about them. It was about my baby that I'm about to deliver. And I wanted to make sure I was in the right state of mind. So that's my, excuse me, that's what I'm advising. And that was my experience. Also, I will say that it's not, so after the delivery, when people are coming home, when you're home and people might have stayed with you, my suggestion is communicate what kind of help you need, right? When people come to see you, what kind of help do you need? And I think a lot of times the people want to come and they want to see the baby. I'll tell you right now, babies just sleep, okay? Majority of the time they're sleeping. If you're breastfeeding, you're going to be breastfeeding a lot. If you decide to pump and feed the baby, and if you want somebody else to pump and feed the baby for you, that's great. But listen, if you're, I'm breastfed and I'm still breastfeeding now. So for me, like when my baby was up, I was up, I breastfed. So I really didn't need people to hold him at all. But my recommendation is just communicate with people what you would like help with. Because the babies are usually sleeping, maybe you need somebody to pick up to do the laundry, or somebody to wash the dishes, or bring food or serve food. So I think it's very important for you to communicate with them what you need help with, because if you don't, everybody's going to want the baby. Okay, just everybody's going to, the baby's going to be sleeping, and so they're not going to know what you need help with, and they may not know, especially if that's their first time tending to first time mom, right? So they may not know, so you need to tell them. So then now, for the support system, listen to the mom, ask what she needs help with. Some of the things that she may need help with is just taking a shower. Like she just may want to take a shower and she just may not be able to because she's afraid. And I guess mom, you're listening to, right? You might be afraid to take the shower because the baby's sleeping. Oh my God, I don't want to leave the baby. Baby's going to be fine. Okay, the baby's sleeping. And the first few days, it might be scary. So support system, that's when you come in. Just be there, watch the baby while she goes to take a shower, to wash her hair, whatever the case is. Oh my goodness, how can I have forgotten? Get your hair done, okay? Try to get your hair braided if you can, before you give birth, like a week or so before your due date, because you never know what's gonna happen. And my baby came late, and so first time mom, majority of the people say they come late. But there are people who may want to get the baby delivered on their due date, or the baby's gonna come out, whether you're first time or not, the baby's gonna come out when the baby's ready. So, but try to get your hair braided. Trust me on this, you'll thank me because that's one thing you won't have to worry about. And get a facial, honey, get a facial, like take care of yourself, do self-care. It's such an important thing before you give birth. It puts you at ease. When you look good, you feel good. I'm a firm believer in that. I gave myself a facial, I think the day before. He came really late. My son came really late, but they were like, listen, we can't wait more than this day, so you gotta come tomorrow. So the night before, I gave myself a facial. I had already done my hair, and I just was in a state of calmness. So that really helped me. And that's my suggestion to first-time mamas. And then, so when you're home, like support system, like let her take a shower, please help her. Let her like do her hair, give her time to go to get her nails, whatever it is that she needs, something that allows her, gives her a break, allows her to be herself. That's such an important thing. Like this whole idea, I think in the Ethiopian culture, and I think it's in the Eritrean culture too, we just say, oh, the woman has to stay home. Oh my God, like that would be too much. My husband, after our first doctor's appointment, I think, he took me out to lunch, and I was like, I had on heels, like, well, I had lost all the baby. I barely gained weight. So we went out to lunch with our son. Everybody's like, did you just come from the hospital? Somebody literally said that to me. But you know what? I didn't care. Just rubbed it off my shoulders because I felt like myself being able to be around my husband. We're going out, we had our baby, everything is gonna be fine. People are gonna be, they're gonna look at you funny. It doesn't matter. Like it's not about anybody else. Just do what you feel comfortable with. Again, during times of COVID, of course, things are a little funky right now, but just know that self-care is important. Do not forget about yourself when you're thinking about your baby. When you're in a good space, mama, the baby's going to be in a good space. When the baby can sense our energy, our emotions, they can sense everything from while we're in while they're in our belly, and after they're born, they can sense it. So as much as possible, create a space that you don't have to run away from. So that's really like the most important thing. That was the most important thing for me, was especially after my first trimester and after I went through that whole darkness, I had to think, once the clouds went away, my focus became about my baby. My focus became about how can I, so when I say it came about my baby, but I couldn't take care of my baby without taking care of myself. And that was the most important thing. So the idea of being a workaholic, that started to dissipate a little bit. And the idea of being there for everybody else, that had to kind of take a second seat. There was a moment when I was working so hard, I forgot to eat. My son was not responding. I was freaking out. And those type of moments, they jolt you back into reality. They really do. So just know that this is not about everybody else. This is about you and your baby. And so just figure out a way to create some level of self-care routine for yourself throughout your pregnancy, even afterwards. And for the support system, what you can do is just be there so that the mom can figure out a system that works for her. Just be mindful to not offer unsolicited advice. One of the things that my husband and I try to do now, we actually do it, but we're still practicing that. My sister told me this a long time ago. I was just telling you to vent, right? So there might be space. So giving each other the space to either vent or get advice. So now I ask, are you telling me this to vent, or are you telling me this so I can give you advice? Just ask that. And no, I'm trying to vent. Mama, that's your responsibility to just be like, no, I just wanted to vent. Okay, great. So the advice, there's no need for advice at that point. Even if the mom is wrong, it doesn't matter, right? Just listen, because what she needed at that time was to listen. And so those are some of the things that I feel like that were so important. And I wish that some of these things I wish someone had shared with me. And it's not an easy thing to process or to think about, because we're just thinking about everything else. So these little minute details are so important for mental stability. So after this is what's going to happen. Very, very important, especially if you don't have a lot of support system. Mom, it's okay to get food delivered, like groceries delivered. It's okay to do that. A month or so before, like when my belly was out, I started hiring, if you can afford it, hire a cleaning person. That's what I'm gonna tell you, because that belly is gonna be big. You're not gonna be able to clean everything the way you wanna clean. And if your husband is going to help, that's great, but you might be working, there just might be a lot. If you can, hire someone, or ask for help. I'm just telling you right now, it's going to help a lot. And I had somebody that was coming in, I think every 2-3 weeks to clean and deep clean. Like I would do certain things, but to just get into the details every 3 weeks, once a month. I think it was once a month, because we just kind of kept up. And afterwards, I still, like right before, like 2 months before, and then I believe almost 2 months after, we had somebody, and then we got the carpet deep cleaned. At that time, we hired someone to get the carpet deep cleaned. Like, listen, if you can afford it, just export the responsibilities as much as you can, because just your physical well-being and your mental well-being that's the most important thing at that time. So we don't necessarily, we always worry about the thing but not the person, right? So you are the person and you need to be okay. And it's okay that you're not okay. It's okay that you're tired. It's okay that you may feel exhausted. It's okay. All of this is okay. Just accept that you are not that same person that you were before you got pregnant. And this is during the entire pregnancy process. And then after, these expectations that we have, just know that mama or mom to be, know that these are things that we're creating for ourselves. There are no rules, okay? There is no rule that says it has to be one way or another. This is just things that either that were imported from parents during our child days, where we've seen things we've carried. There's no rule to do anything. There are days when you're just gonna just be flat on your back because your back is hurting, and that's fine. Just learn to accept where you are at that moment. That's going to help a lot. Also, don't worry about one of the best advice someone gave me. One of my cousins gave me was, "Why are you worried about that? That's 10 minutes away." That's what she said. Why are you worried about that? Like, you will find the solution. Solution has its things have their way of working themselves out. And so now you're worrying about something that you have no business worrying because it's so far in the future. And she was so right. Like, that person that likes to plan, that person wanted to take over. And that was a behavior that I had adopted that has helped me for success and professionally. But it was not serving me as a new mom to be. It actually created more anxiety for me. So just identifying the behaviors that don't serve you is such an important thing. So just think about yourself, mama. Make sure you're focusing on your well-being. These are just some of the things, and I'm not even going to go into the detail because I'm trying to keep this about 30 to 40 minutes, no more than that. So I'm going to end here, and just know that, and I'm going to stop this by saying, just know that you, okay? It's not even the baby, you need to be okay. Because when you're okay and you're doing well, the baby will be okay, the baby will do well. So just continue to focus on finding things that create a routine for yourself that gives you a sense of calmness, whether it's prayer, meditation, whatever that case is. Smelling something that brings sense of smell, grounds us. Exercise is so amazing. Opening music and just dancing, that was also great. And you're going to give birth when you give birth, so don't stress yourself. Continue to go to your doctors like everybody's going to take that ceremony. I don't even know why I'm sharing it, but just know that you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Get out of your head. Talk to your baby. Just be with your baby and know that you are what mom to be, or new mom, you are what matters. Even after you give birth, you have to be okay. You have to figure out a way to make that work. Order that food. If you don't feel like cooking, that's fine too. And I think lastly, and we didn't talk about this, and maybe I'll do a talk with just, fathers and or partners in the future. I will be having more conversations about parenthood because I think it's really important for part of our healing process on Heal Talk, because we're carrying a lot of expectations and things that we've imported from previous experiences. And we need to just be able to move on past that and just be ourselves, the best version of ourselves today. And if that means we got to get rid of some of the things that don't serve us, such as belief system, then we'll do that. And I think that's very, very important to have a conversation on the healing journey. So the last thing I wanted to say was bring your partner in on this journey as much as possible. Communicate with them because they have no idea. They think they know, but they have no idea. They want to be there for you. They just don't know how to. So just don't get frustrated. Just share, hey, this is not gonna, I'm feeling like this, and I think this is going to help. I really don't know what to do. Like being honest and vulnerable with each other, I think is going to really help. And understand that the dad to be is also going through a lot of ups and downs. And so, they're not the enemy, even though it doesn't feel like it, especially when you're about to give birth. But they're not the enemy. They just don't know how to be there, and so help them. Okay, so thank you so much for being here. And I'll have more moms, more dads, some veteran moms and dads too, to have a conversation on Heal Talk. I was just really, really inspired by, so I wanted to do this talk with someone first, but after I went on to the Ethiopian and Eritrean Parents Alliance, I think, after their event today, which was moderated by or hosted by my sister. Like I was so inspired by the power of sharing our stories. So that's why it started this parenting conversation through Heal Talk by talking about mine and some of the lessons that I learned and I wish I knew. And I hope you found value in it. Thank you so much for being here with me. And I'll talk to you next week on another episode of Heal Talk. Thank you so much and be well. Oh, I'm sorry, before I leave, you can find us on kinetbet.com, KINETBET.com. That's our website. Our videos are usually put on there. So come on in. We also started a new podcast called Bet Talk, BETTALK, 2 words. And that's on most of where you find podcasts. These are just small snippets to help on our healing journey. So join us there. Subscribe, follow, share, and listen. And if you have any questions, info or comments, info@kinetfaith.com. We're here. And again, I'm Beta Lihim Bakalen. Thank you so much for being with me today. I'll talk to you soon.